Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, recently posted a 5-minute video. Using a Republican-style propaganda attack ad, he spread false information about drug use in Canada. He made use of fear-mongering and lies to generate support for his party. This has proven effective south of the border. Let's go through the video and see how this approach to a real problem engenders support. Judging by the many comments responding to the video, lots of people loved the ideas presented.
Do you ever feel like everything's broken in Canada? I mean, here we are. Most beautiful place in the world, beautiful British Columbia, the Pacific, the Vancouver skyline, and another tent city. In that tent city are people hopelessly addicted to drugs, putting poisons in their bodies. They've probably lost their homes, their families, they've lost control of their lives, and they might lose their lives altogether. Just today we learned that British Columbia is on track to have over 2,000 drug overdose deaths this year alone. That is a 300% increase from 2015 when Justin Trudeau took office. These are Canadian citizens who are losing their lives. They could be your sister, your brother, your daughter, your son. They could even be your parents. This can happen to anyone.
Apparently, since there has been a huge increase in addiction since 2015, it is Trudeau's fault. Just wondering, did he ask permission of these people to be used as props before taking his video? Did he pay them?
Many people got hooked on these drugs by taking them first as medications and then increasing their dosage and eventually becoming outright addicts. It's not just crack cocaine and methamphetamines, but it's opioids that are in the same family of drugs that are often prescribed or overprescribed. But the addictions that we see that have terrorized these people and our communities, they are the result of a failed experiment. This is a deliberate policy by woke, liberal, and NDP governments to provide taxpayer-funded drugs, flood our streets with easy access to these poisons.
But these are safer drugs to protect people from contaminated street drugs. It has been proven that these efforts save lives.
This has been tried, not just in Vancouver, but in places like Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, and always with the same results. Major increases in overdoses and a massive increase in crime.
This is a lie. In truth, these sites can connect people to supports and treatment. And the lie continues.
Here in Canada, under Justin Trudeau, we've not only had this 300% increase in overdose deaths in British Columbia, but across Canada, violent crime has increased by 32%. We should have expected this because every time this experiment has been tried, it has resulted in exactly the same outcome.
There is no mention of the real causes of addiction, like poverty, racism, sexual abuse. What are his solutions?
But there are solutions. We know what works. First and foremost, we need to put the resources into bolstering our borders to keep the precursor ingredients that go into making these drugs out of the country. Second, we need to bring in tougher laws for the violent reoffenders and the gangsters and organized criminals who are preying upon these addicts. Look, I believe, like anyone, that a young person who makes a mistake should get a second chance, but we're not talking about that here. We're talking about hardened, repeat, violent offenders or organized criminals that are devoted to a life of crime and preying on innocent victims. And finally, and most importantly, we need to stop using tax dollars to fund dangerous drugs under the so-called and ironically named idea of safe supply. There is no safe supply of these drugs. They are deadly.
His solutions are: 1. increased security at the borders, impossible without huge government intrusion in our lives, which conservatives are supposed to oppose. 2, tougher penalties for violent reoffenders. Harsher penalties have not proven effective in combating crime in the past. Longer sentences will make for more hardened criminals when they're released. Trump would have had them executed. It would be the next logical step. 3, stop public funding of so-called safe drugs. However, this is the only approach that seems to work.
They are lethal and they are relentlessly addictive. Giving people more of these drugs will not free them from their addiction. It will only lead to their ultimate death, as we have seen over the last several years that it has been tried here in Vancouver. Instead, we should put that money into recovery and treatment, detox programs that bring the addict into a facility, help them remove the poisons from their bodies, give them counseling, and help them fix the problems, the underlying psychological problems that got them addicted in the first place. This treatment has been proven to work. In Alberta today, they've managed to cut overdose deaths by almost half by getting people into recovery. It's possible. There is hope to give people back control of their lives.
Yes, it is possible to give people back their lives through treatment. But to get them to survive long enough to get this treatment, safe consumption sites have proven effective.
That should be our purpose. This has failed, but there is hope that we can turn these cities around and save the lives of our fellow citizens. Let's put them back in control of their lives here in Canada. Like I said, it feels like everything's broken in Canada. The good news is we're going to fix it.
And now just a couple of cartoons and an observation to wind this show up.